Alright guys, what is going on? Steve Mingelco, Final Web Design. Today's video I want to talk about what are the most popular CMS platforms in 2022. What are we still using with our clients and the businesses that we're working with? What am I seeing out there in the web community? And where do I think kind of CMS platforms are going? Final Web Design, this is Steve. So I did find this one article that said the best CMS platforms. It's WP Beginner, which is WordPress Beginner. And clearly they're going to highlight that WordPress is number one. And I can only agree with them that WordPress is the number one CMS platform. There are so many plugins, so many extensions, so much documentation and research, so many businesses that are currently using the WordPress CMS that it definitely ranks number one, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, it only seems to kind of be taking over more and more of the market when it comes to the open source CMS platforms. So when I say the open source CMS platforms, the only thing that I see that's kind of maybe taking a little bit of WordPress's area of web development is some of the platforms, even like Wix and Squarespace and things like that, that are more of those website builders that are more of corporate, America or corporations behind them, as opposed to the open sourceness that WordPress gives and being free and things like that. There's no monthly subscriptions. So as this article highlights, and as I would say, WordPress is the number one CMS right now, and it's going to continue to be that way. And when I go over here to Google Trends and I look over the last 5 years, yes, WordPress is kind of going downhill as far as the overall interest in it from a Google search perspective, but it has kind of leveled out. So it's not going down to like the ground, it's just kind of finding its own place. It's hovering around the same amount of users and search and stuff. Now, where is that going to bring WordPress in a few years? I think that WordPress is always going to have its place. There's always going to be businesses using WordPress. WordPress is not going anywhere. In fact, it's going to continue to take over more of the market. If anything starts to take over WordPress, it's going to be more of these SPAs and these applications so that people are able to, have it with their mobile responsive phones and things like that. Not that WordPress doesn't do that from a website perspective, but as far as from like an application perspective, that's the only thing that I see intruding on WordPress's area right now, or market. Now, the second one I would take a look at, I used to love Joomla. I absolutely love Joomla. So if we go back here, Joomla obviously still has a place and it's still being used. Not as much though, definitely not as much. A lot less people here are using Joomla. Now, I'm not sure how these interests by regions and such work, but as far as I know, the Joomla community, at least in Florida, has really dwindled. There used to be like a Joomla Day Florida, and there used to be all these cool events that you could go to around the community up in Tampa, and a lot of that's come to an end. And I know they just released a Joomla 4 CMS, and honestly, instead of upgrading to Joomla 4, I actually made the move over to WordPress with my Final Web Design. And a lot of that reason is I just didn't know where the future of Joomla was going. If I'm going to have to update the whole CMS platform from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4, I'd rather just go with something I know is going to be a little more steady. Because as you can see, the whole Joomla ecosystem just seems to be dropping, and I don't think it's coming back. And that's unfortunate because I do like the UI and the back end of Joomla a lot more than WordPress. However, the market's kind of spoken, and I don't see Joomla making a comeback. Now, we do see Drupal, and I know a lot of corporations are very into Drupal and Drupal development, and Drupal's cool. I have no problem with Drupal, but I do think it is more of a corporate America CMS as opposed to, small businesses and stuff. I know when we go over here and take a look at how Drupal is, it's gone down as well. And I think a lot of reason that a lot of these are going down is like a general trend is there's just so many different technologies out there, CMS platforms, web frameworks, things that are being used to power websites, and all of these are getting smaller niches as far as who's using each of them. But overall, the number of websites is only growing. So it does look like Drupal's taking a little bit of a hit. I don't see Drupal coming back either, but then again, Drupal has never really been a huge part of the market. Drupal has been very niche for a few businesses that have wanted to utilize that CMS platform, but again, I don't think in the future we'll be seeing a whole lot of Drupal. And then that would bring me into Magento. And I personally do like Magento. I think Magento is a great CMS platform, especially when you're getting into e-commerce. I feel like now that Adobe has taken over the Magento CMS platform, you're going to find a lot more of that, corporate America budget to kind of smooth it out a little bit with the next updates and revisions and such. However, with that, I think now you have to pay monthly subscriptions and stuff with Magento. So there's also that element of it. I do see a lot of corporate America and big companies using the Magento CMS. However, again, it's kind of hit its stale point where all these CMSs are currently finding themselves. And then that would bring me into my last point, which would just be that, let's turn on the AC here, the computer's getting a little slow. That's part of living down in the heat. And then the last platform I'd like to talk about is just the actual frameworks that are being used as opposed to CMS platforms. And now what are those? Vue and React. And now Vue and React have continued to grow. And this is where I show that some of this market is being taken over by other technologies like Vue and React. So as you can see here, Vue has just continued to grow up. And then you also have Vue, which has also continued to find growth as far as where it's headed and the amount of users and such that are using it. So I really like Vue. I think that's the future for me and my business as far as when I'm working with application development. So with that being said, guys, I just wanted to kind of go over some of the new CMS platforms that are out there, what people are using, what companies are using, what we're seeing with the Google Trends. So if you agree with me, let me know in the comments. A like, a subscribe, that stuff helps. And with that said, we will catch you guys in the next video.